Telangana is the next target of the BJP as Prime Minister Modi takes his party's national executive to the heart of Hyderabad. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. Let's take you through the key developments of this fascinating political story. It is now battleground Telangana for the BJP. The Prime Minister is there calling for a twin-engine government. In other words, he is urging Telangana to vote for the BJP in the upcoming assembly elections. In the meantime, KCR, the Chief Minister of Telangana, is talking about going national, and there is even talk that the TRS, the Telangana Rashtriya Samiti, could be renamed and rechristened as the Bharatiya Rashtriya Samiti. The Prime Minister is also talking about the possibility of changing Hyderabad's name to Bhagya Nagar in an address to BJP workers. And to this, KTR has a retort of his own saying, why don't you first name Ahmedabad as Adanibad? So a lot to unpack there in this fascinating political story as the BJP trains its guns on the south. Let's introduce our guests on the program today. From the BJP, from Telangana today, we are joined by the BJP leader, Dharam Guruva Reddy. Welcome to the program, sir. From the TRS, we are joined by Krishan K, leader of the TRS. Welcome to the program. Yashwant, Deshmukh, psephologist, political analyst, leading Sea Voter, joins us. And also joining us is senior journalist of the Deccan Chronicle. In fact, its chief of bureau, Mr. Vamsi, Srinivas. Thank you very much, Vamsi, and a pleasure to see you there. Let me get started straight away with the BJP leader on our program, Guruva Reddy. Mr. Reddy, why Telangana? Why is the state of Telangana next on the target of the BJP? Yes, your party did well in the recently conducted local elections in Hyderabad, but otherwise here there are already two regional parties that are strong. The TRS, which is in government, the Congress, which still has a following. Why does the BJP see the need, for example, to bring its national executive to Telangana?
Hi, Barkha, and hi, everyone in the panel. It's quite obvious that after 8 years of rule in Telangana, the TRS regime under KCR's rule, has not seen much of progress. Actually, all the promises that have been made by the Chief Minister for the last 8 years, there have been actually a list of promises, empty promises, which have not been fulfilled. In fact, in spite of fulfilling all the promises that he made in the first term, he has created a new list of promises. And every time there is a by-election or every time there is unrest among people, he creates a new idea, and tries to divert the people's attention towards the new idea. But it cannot happen. No, people can be fooled once, people can be maybe fooled twice, but once the people realize, it has been happening in the history, in historical evidences, when the governments have failed successfully for 2 terms, it is evident that the third term there will be a change in government. That is one historical fact. But in terms of considering KCR and TRS rule in Telangana, there are 2 major factors. One is failure of all the promises, and instead of it, he always keeps talking about Nilu, Nidulu, Niyamakalu, which is the resources of creating employment, water resources for farmlands, and building infrastructure, and bringing in a lot of money, creating wealth in the state, which he could not fulfill. Actually, what he created is wealth for his family. He created employment within his family. He promised at the time of Telangana agitation, when he wanted to form the government for first time in 2014, he promised that there will be 1 employment per every household, which he miserably failed. But in fact, instead of that, probably, if we can measure, there are 6 employments within his own family. And people started realizing his fake promises are not worthwhile to listen to or yield to. And there's a lot of unrest among the people, common man, at the ground level. And definitely people are looking at the alternative platform of BJP, and there is a lot of pressure from the cadre at the ground level across the state, that BJP should be focusing much more on the national leadership. For the past 1 year has been started focusing much more, and there will be a lot of fights. Bandi Sanjay Kumar, the president of BJP Telangana, has personally was involved in many such battles against TRS government. He's been arrested several times. On leaders, is an inspiring leader among the BC youth and among the youth who are highly active among the social media. And people are getting the messages what need to be done next. And when it comes to employment of the youth, when there are 28 lakh unemployed youth in Telangana state, and the government was supposed to do something about it, which they miserably failed. And youth are looking for alternative. And looking at alternative, you look at UP's Yogi model or Gujarat model, or alternative models in other developed states like Madhya Pradesh. You take example of any other state which is governed by or managed is ruled by BJP. There is some kind of a repetitive government or some kind of economic growth that is happening. And Modi ji, as a national leader himself, is gaining a lot of popularity. And
but what are the prospects? I've heard you out. What are the prospects? What are the real prospects for your capacity to make an electoral inroad? Before I go to Krishan K.
See, there's high probability is that we got recent updates, reports from ground level that people are definitely looking for BJP as an alternative. This time it will be definitely a topple for the TRS government, and the numbers could go around 70 to 75 assembly segments where BJP will be, gaining seats. That is the reports we have.
Okay, let me bring in the TRS leader Krishan K now. Krishan, let me start by asking you. Initially the TRS was quite soft, some would have said, on the BJP. But once you realize that the BJP is there competing for actually your own home turf, suddenly your leader's position and politics have changed. Recently, he was at the airport to receive Yashwant, the opposition candidate for the post of president. He is also talking about changing the party's name from the TRS, the Telangana Rashtriya Samiti, to the BRS, the Bharatiya Rashtriya Samiti. How worried is your party about the inroads that the BJP is seeking to make? The Prime Minister addressed a mammoth rally. Are you nervous?
Not at all, Barkhaji. And we are not new to this. We are not new to this national parties bulldozing on us. KCRG has the experience of facing the national parties during the Telangana agitation, after which Telangana statehood became a reality. And yet again here, we see the political ambitions of national parties, and the people understand the desperation of national parties, be it the one which is in the ruling today, or even the Congress party also, that all they want is power, all they want is replacing KCR, but not the people's interests of Telangana. If you are talking about jobs, we have the numbers of jobs which we've given and which we are recruiting right now also. We've built an irrigation project. Earlier, this Telangana was in a drought situation. There were many backward districts, according to Government of India. And today, there is surplus water. You don't see any electricity issues. We have 24-hour free electricity. We are known as a welfare state. Government of India frequently, in many factors, ranks us as a top performer, be it in IT and technology, be it in welfare, be it in our schemes, policies. And that is why people have given a chance with much more numbers in the 2018. We continue to work. And at the same time, we have a Bharatiya Janata Party, which cannot speak what they've done for Telangana, what they want to do for Telangana. There are Bharatiya Janata Party's jhoot, Safed jhoot, and Modi ji ke jhoot. Jhoot pe jhoot, and their jumlas, which happened yesterday also. We actually like it when Modi ji comes here for politics, because when he comes here, he speaks only politics. Only changes every time he attacks KCRG. The last time he came here for the ISB meeting at the airport, he had a scathing attack on KCRG and TRS party. But yesterday,
this time he did not attack Mr. KCR personally.
Yes. There is a reason for that. Why? Because KCRG, just 24 hours before that, has asked very serious questions, which the Bharatiya Janata Party has been dodging. The questions are very clear. Be it the Sri Lankan issue, where the Sri Lankan parliamentarians are rising up in the parliament and asking about the crony capitalism of Adani and Modi ji, or the disturbance by Bharatiya Janata Party and its leader for which even the Supreme Court is commenting and international countries are commenting.
So
There are many issues which...
Why do you think, Krishan, before I open this up, and I want a brief response from Mr. Reddy also to this, why do you think Mr. Modi is holding the national executive in your state?
That definitely is because there is Hyderabad here, their interests towards Hyderabad. Have you seen Prime Minister of India, Modi ji, meeting any corporators across the nation? Only Hyderabad corporators. It is their interest in Hyderabad. And one more thing, there is Modi ji's friend Adani ji, who wanted to purchase Singareni, which KCR ji did not allow. KCR ji said, "Bhai Adani, this PSUs, we do not sell PSUs." So this bulldozing, and that is why you see there are leaders, ex-chief ministers, state presidents, and coming here and saying that after Uddhav Thackeray it will be KCR. That is the threatening they're doing. So the whole national executive is not national executive, Barkha ji. It is only Telangana Executive Committee meeting, for which cabinet ministers, chief minister, and prime minister Modi ji wants to use all might on KCR ji. And what was their major subject, major agenda? To change the name of Hyderabad. When they do not have anything to speak, they want to change the name of the cities.
I'll come to the suggested new name of Hyderabad that the Prime Minister referenced in just a moment. But I want to bring in Yashwant. I know Mr. Reddy of the BJP is wanting to rebut you as well. But Yashwant, you have taken a hard look at the numbers. The last time, in fact, we were discussing Telangana, you were saying that there could be a consecutive historic third victory for the TRS, provided that they pass the baton down to a younger leader. You were speaking about the popularity of KCR's son. That is clearly, of course, not happening from what I am able to pick out. So Yashwant, as we go over the numbers, just very briefly, first, if we can look at 2018, what happened in the last assembly elections, if we can bring up those numbers, please, at the back end. Let's look at 2018 and 2019. Let's take the banner off. That is what happened in 2018, Yashwant. As you can see there. And then, of course, there were the Lok Sabha elections, and that slide will come up as well. So the reason that these slides are actually important is because it gives you a sense of the fact that there are many parties with their own bases there. Until the Hyderabad local elections, the BJP did find it difficult to make inroads in terms of seats. But look at that vote share in 2019. That is a significant vote share there, and that is probably where the BJP started feeling hopeful. Yashwant, we'll have the local election results slide in just a moment as well, but go ahead and tell us what your reading is of Telangana.
Barkha, even the 2019 vote share was actually subpar. Let me, take this actually 20 years back, not even just now. Very, people, when they discuss the BJP in the South, they tend to just enter the Karnataka and leave it there without realizing that even before Karnataka, it was basically Andhra, and that to the Telangana region of Andhra. In 1998 Lok Sabha elections, Barkha, BJP polled almost 20% in the United Andhra and actually roughly about 30% in the Telangana region. So 30% was the catchment which BJP touched in Telangana region. Date that to 1998 Lok Sabha elections. After that, obviously, 1999 came in and the TDP alliance came in, and that BJP had to drop the separate state of Telangana idea, and everything was taken away. I mean, obviously, by the TRS sensed that was the right moment to take it further. So the catchment area for BJP is not 7% or 9%, it's actually 30%. If you are asking me that where can BJP even reach in Telangana, and that is not because that something new is happening. That is because that was the catchment area way back, almost 25 years back for the BJP. Now, coming down to what is happening right now is that TRS has been running a welfare state in Telangana for all practical reasons. Last general elections, that means before the Lok Sabha election, the assembly elections, they had taken it a one-way traffic. And if you compare the vote share between the Vidhan Sabha and the Lok Sabha, even then during the Lok Sabha, the TRS vote share did not come below 40%. So that is where you need to understand, Barkha, that TRS vote share is pretty much intact out there. What we are likely to see is the reorganization of the anti-TRS vote or the anti-BJP vote, both ways. However, the anti-BJP vote largely the Muslim votes, if I may say so, are static with the AIMM vote party concentrated into the Hyderabad region, and many a times AIMM and the TRS have been synchronizing their strategy, even adjusting the seats, and they have been working more of an alliance partners in Telangana rather than anything else. So if you look into the anti-TRS or the anti-Congress vote, that is where the BJP's growth area is, where they want to position themselves. That you see, Congress is a gone case, TRS is the main party to contest against. So if you are anti-TRS, you please vote to us. If you are anti-Congress, you please vote to us, because we are coming to power, and they are positioning themselves as the pole, the opposition pole in Telangana. That is where the entire strategy is, Barkha, right now. And if they can pull it off a magic way, because you see, one thing I can be sure of, that nobody can take the campaign or the strategy of the BJP lightly. We have seen them taking some state like Tripura out of nowhere and directly to the power, So nobody can take that lightly. But as far as BJP is concerned, they can also not take the TRS impact lightly. They have been running a welfare state, and we know for sure in all these election results of late that social welfareism, the programs of welfareism, they do work, they do get the votes, and for all practical matters, TRS is an important party, and its leader, its founder, remains a very strong person, very strong political person in Telangana.
Let me bring in Yashwant, a lot of questions for you, but I'll just bring in brief comments first from Vamsi and Sumanth, and then we'll go around the panel again. Vamsi, Srinivas, I know that the BRS announcement has not come, and for our audience, the TRS is the Telangana Rashtriya Samiti, and it may well be renamed as the Bharatiya Rashtriya Samiti. I don't know whether that's still about to happen or not. How seriously do you take that national positioning, given what the BJP is hoping to do in Telangana, Mr. Srinivas?
Yeah, well, with KCR, what we have noticed is when he talks of something, definitely he will be doing his homework. And as any political leader, first he will believe in himself. So I think it is at that stage where he is trying to believe in himself and trying to put up a brave face that, yes, I can do. And so far, the only explanation which they are offering on the BRS is that when nobody thought Telangana would be a reality, KCR got it. So now also, when he talks about the national alternative, yes, definitely KCR would be successful. But to me, it appears it's a very, if it is going to happen, well, the question still remains whether it will happen or not. But if he makes any attempt, it is a blunder, because it is all about the credibility. Well, we are talking about the 14 and 18. 14, definitely there is if Telangana happened, it is because of KCR. That there is no doubt about it, whether people agree or not. Personally, also, I feel that it is because of KCR, Telangana was a reality that time. But because of the settler vote still not confident, and Telugu Desam was a force at that time, he did not get that. But by 2018, everybody got settled and they're convinced with that. And then, of course, the same Babu factor worked for the TRS, because when he started campaigning in alliance with Congress, he again that became advantageous for TRS. Now the same credibility issue, I doubt whether the TRS leaders will agree or not. Definitely, there is the graph is on a downslide. On the same issue of credibility, what he says earlier used to kind of is a stature as a great statesman, the fighter movement who led the movement, who brought Telangana. From that, slowly things are not working in his way. And I think the whole thing triggered with that Huzurabad election, and post Huzurabad, some ego issues. And once the BJP thought, okay, let us give a try, all this, they put all the energies, I think. That is how they try to start their
do you see a space that is ripe for the BJP to make an entry? Do you see that?
Yes, that definitely. yeah, as when people feel against the government, let us say if they're bored of the government, at this stage, I feel that they're bored of the government. Whether it turns into a hatred or whether it turns into a clear anti-feeling where I have to get rid of this TRS, then the question of the alternative, whether it will be a Congress or the BJP. See, there definitely, yes, BJP has a space. And if you see yesterday's meeting, normal audience for any public meetings, gatherings of BJP used to be from Hyderabad, from kind of a employee sections or uh, uh, older people, and most of the audience are typical core RSS or ABVP, these kind of
Yeah.
northern, some people from northern states and all. But yesterday, definitely, there is a change. People from different districts and youth and sections which were not with them earlier, they also got mobilized, and definitely
Yeah.
it was a success.
So it's
If
very
you look at,
interesting that you look at the Prime Minister's rally as a success, and there were certainly mammoth crowds. I want to go back to the BJP and TRS, but Sumanth, let's bring you in.
Barkha, I think that there is no doubt whatsoever that the BJP is on the upswing in Telangana. The only issue that we are discussing is whether they would be able to topple the TRS in the next assembly election or not. The problem for the TRS, as for any party which has been in power for such a long time, is naturally that there will be some element of anti-incumbency. The problem for the BJP and the TRS that is actually curing the pitch a little bit is that the Congress is not imploding like it is imploding in many states. I know Yashwant used the term the Congress is a gone case. I'm not too sure that the Congress is a gone case in Telangana as yet. And under Revant Reddy, many of the meetings, of course, again, crowds are no indication of necessarily the party getting the votes. But they've been having huge rallies in the recent months, and I'm not too sure that we are in a position to write off the Congress completely out of the equation. Obviously, they're not going to be the winning party in the next assembly elections, but they could make it interesting in some places for the BJP and some
I
places
think
they could make it difficult for the TRS.
Yashwant is wanting to briefly interject. I'll let him do that and let
Yeah.
Sumanth complete his point. Yashwant?
Sumanth, I did not say that Congress is a gone case. What I meant to say was that the way it's flowing out, I seriously see that BJP is likely to replace the Congress as the main opposition party to TRS in Telangana. That is for sure. That is why I have been very, very clear about that I don't see TRS government being toppled even at this point of time. But however, Barkha, imagine that BJP polled 7% in Vidhan Sabha and they took it to almost 19% in Lok Sabha within a year. If the BJP gets 19-20% in Vidhan Sabha, you can be absolutely sure that they will take it to 35-40% in Lok Sabha next time. Because people are voting in a split manner. People are voting it very clearly that, okay, they are voting for a party in a Lok Sabha level and another party at the Vidhan Sabha level. And there is a significant chunk of TRS voter which is basically anti-Congress voter. And at the Lok Sabha level, it might not necessarily stick to TRS as well. So how I look at this entire exercise, that it will be a two-stage phenomena. One stage, eclipse the Congress by polling about 20-25% votes and getting the seat share beyond Congress to become the principal opposition party in Telangana. And once that happens, then target about 15 odd Lok Sabha seat as far as the 2024 Lok Sabha. So I feel BJP's main target is 2024 and a target about 14 odd seats from Telangana. That's what their target is.
Okay, before we take that back to the BJP and TRS, Mr. Reddy, I'm coming to you in half a second. Ravi Shankar Prasad of the BJP revealed that the Prime Minister, in his address to party workers, did speak about changing the name of Hyderabad. What are the politics around this? Listen in.
उन्होंने एक प्रकार से हम लोग को सेंटिमेंटल किया कि हैदराबाद भावनगर है सिग्निफिकेंस फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस। हैदराबाद में सरदार पटेल ने एक भारत की नींव रखी थी जिसको तोड़ने का बहुत प्रयास होता था। अब बीजेपी के कंधों पर एक भारत से श्रेष्ठ भारत की यात्रा को पूरा करने का दायित्व है।
And in response, KTR had an acerbic tweet. Sumanth, hang on. When this discussion came up about the BJP changing Hyderabad's name, on KTR's tweet, this is what he said: "Why don't you change Ahmedabad's name to Adanibad first?" So this rhetoric is really ratcheting up, and I want to ask Mr. Reddy of the BJP, why are you invested in changing the name of Hyderabad? So to Mr. Reddy first, and then Sumanth, and then Krishan. Mr. Reddy, first you. What is this about changing Hyderabad's name?
Barkha, before going on answering your question, I have a small suggestion on the rectification of the numbers that you have shown on the screen a while ago regarding the local body electoral wins by
Yes.
BJP and Congress. Actually, it is Hyderabad Municipal Corporation. BJP has actually won 48 seats last time, not 20.
Yes.
On the screen, please rectify that.
Yes.
And not Congress is not 28; they actually won 1 or 2. So and then that's it for that. And then moving on to the question of why Bhagyanagar, it's all about the people's aspirations. This Bhagyanagar demand is there among the pro-nationalists for decades together. And actually, the original name of this city, when it actually originated, it was named after Bhagyanagar. Later on, it became Hyderabad when eventually when Nizam took over and started evolving into as a state. But basically, Bhagyanagar is now a big demand for long pending demand, I can say. And then it should happen because there is a historical reason to that, and there's people's aspirations behind that, and the rest will be left to the government. When BJP forms the government, I'm sure they'll take the mandate from people and do the needful as per the constitutional requirements. Now, coming back to the couple of comments that my TRS friend has just wanted to rectify him, that desperation of a national party. No, any political party, whether it is a local party or a national party, they will have political ambition. And for a national party which is gaining its number of governments across the nation, it is growing number of state governments and across the nation in multiple states. Definitely, as Telangana is a gateway for the south, and BJP is definitely aspiring for a government down south. Telangana will be the next, and we are doing all out, including Amit Shah ji, Modi ji, and everybody. They're doing all the might. We're putting all across all the efforts. We'll make sure that we'll topple TRS government, and we'll definitely form the government next time. But to my friend's answer that drought hit Telangana has been converted into surplus water area. That is a statement that he needs to correct and cross check, because after spending 1 lakh crore rupees on irrigation projects, there is no evidence, iota of evidence, that not even 1 lakh acres have been irrigated extra from comparing to 2014 data. Now, I don't know which drought area he was talking about, but looking at the last 3 years of rainfall in Telangana, due to corona, maybe due to the balance of the and weather and environment here, and a lot of peace, and basically the environment is balanced, and a lot of rains occurred in the last 3 seasons, and all the tanks. Telangana is a state which is filled with a lot of tanks, water tanks, and small tanks, bigger tanks, and all. Because of heavy rains, all the tanks have been now that filled with water, and they have been now utilizing. All the farmers have been utilizing the groundwater table is increased because of the rains, not because of a project which they promised about 200 plus TMC to be pumped from a lower gratitude to high altitude. That is not happening at all, but that is going to be an expensive project, much more expensive project. And talking about development, my friend was talking about, see, the Telangana state is now into 4.5 lakh crore debts, and there is no way that this government, before they are
so let me just jump in. You've spoken about a lot of things. First, to clarify on the local body elections, we have actually pulled out the specific data on Hyderabad. The slides we were showing earlier were of the local body overall in Telangana, but of course in the greater Hyderabad elections, the BJP was just 7 short of the TRS rally, and it jumped from 4 to 48 in the Hyderabad election. So of course the Hyderabad performance was absolutely staggering, but you still haven't answered why you want to change the Hyderabad name. Please answer that, and I need to go to Krishan. And Yashwant, sorry, you wanted to make a point there? Yashwant, you wanted to make a point there? Yashwant?
Barkha, I haven't completed my point.
I just
1
wanted
minute.
to answer of the you just asked why do they want to
answer Bhagira's question?
I just wanted to
Yeah, Yashwant first, then Mr. Reddy. Yeah, Yashwant.
Barkha, in Telangana, the Hyderabad region or Greater Hyderabad region is the only area where you have a significant Muslim population, and the politics of polarization actually works there. That's the fact. Even right from the starting, the 2 seats that BJP has been consistently winning or having a good vote share was Hyderabad and Secunderabad all along. So that is that's the polarization politics which will gain ground. It works to their strength over there. However, the challenge for the BJP, Barkha, is outside Hyderabad or the rural Telangana or the other parts of the Telangana where the concentration of the minority votes is not that much that it might result in a counter polarization. We all know for sure that there has to be about 10 to 20% of the Muslim votes in a seat which triggers that kind of
I think that's a very important.
polarization.
I think that's the very important point that I wanted to make to Mr. Reddy, that our data was on the local elections overall, but we've pulled out the Hyderabad specific figures, where of course the BJP did majestically. But outside Hyderabad, what happens? I want to go to Krishan, Sumanth, and then Vamsi in that order. But I want one sentence from Mr. Reddy. Why do you want to change the name of Hyderabad?
Not only Barkha, not only Hyderabad will become Bhaginagar, but there are many other towns across Telangana. We have decided we are going to change their names into their actual originated name as per the the original historical names where they used to exist. These names have been intermittently changed in between to please and the appeasement politics of minorities and all. I don't say there's there's nothing there's no evidence or there's no historical reason that why should we not change it. I would say there is a historical reason why we should change it, and they were going to change it.
I want to bring in Sumanth, just give me a second. I think Krishan has waited very patiently. Mr. Reddy made a number of long points. He must have a right to respond. And then Sumanth. Go ahead, Krishan. The point is, when you look at the Hyderabad elections, do you worry? Do you worry that the BJP in 2020 was just 7 short of the TRS rally in Hyderabad? Or do you draw strength from Yashwant's argument that outside Hyderabad, it's a whole different game? Krishan. Can we unmute Krishan, please?
Not just outside Hyderabad, Barkaji, in the Hyderabad also, because, democracy prevails. It's nice to hear Bharatiya Janata Party using the word toppling the government. That gives us a lot of strength, because people of Telangana have a rebellion attitude. They do not like bulldozing or toppling. Telangana people do not like such attitude. So if Bharatiya Janata Party thinks they can topple us, well, we leave it to the people. And being written off, Vamsi ji's media institution or Bharatiya Janata Party or many political parties, they have written off KCR ji in 2014, they have written off KCR ji in 2018. Never any surveys were pro us at all when Chandrababu Naidu, Congress, Communist parties, all of them together also joined. It was like, khatam ho gaya, KCR ji ka kham ho gaya, Telangana bhi nahi, power bhi nahi. But what happened? See, basically the point is, when KCR talks, he talks about the dynamics of Telangana. Today, the Bharatiya Janata Party, if they are questioning the irrigation project, what will people see, Barkaji? They will see the flora and fauna and the ecosystem of Telangana. No one ever believed that Telangana could ever have water, 24-hour electricity, because there were power holidays in this state. 3 to 4 hours of electricity only. So people know that, people get connected with that. No one ever believes that today Telangana state is ranked 1 in inland fisheries. Because when we did not have water, how could we? Because that again supports the economy of those communities who are banking on that. At the same time, the state's economy also.
But
so
are you worried about the urban pockets? And let's actually bring up the slide that focuses on Hyderabad itself. where your party was the largest at 55 seats, but it was down. It lost a number of seats from its previous election, and the BJP was almost catching up. As I said, just 7 short in a spectacular rise from 4 to 48 seats. Are you concerned about this, Krishan?
Yeah, well, Barkha, there are two things. We should also remember that in the Hyderabad's municipal history, in the recent generations, there has been no party who has won the Greater Hyderabad consecutive times. So the second election, we continue to remain stronger with more number of seats itself explains the strength of ours. Well, while Bharatiya Janata Party, their major campaign was the surgical strikes or, with MIM. That doesn't remain for long. In Telangana, at least, development debate is more a prior issue. We have a lot of flyovers, lot of infrastructures happening.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this point blank. Is TRS going to be re-Christianed as the Bharatiya Rashtriya Samiti? And if so, why?
Definitely, because there is a vacuum in national politics. Narendra Modi ji has failed in his policies and implementations. And we all, as citizens, we feel there is a challenger to Narendra Modi ji in KCR ji. He talks, and Telangana is a model which is much more beyond Gujarat model. We are succeeding. We are.
So you are confirming. So you are confirming that the TRS is going to be re-Christian. Sumanth, isn't there a danger?
No doubt,
there?
No doubt at all.
Okay. So isn't there a danger there, Sumanth? And then coming to you, Yashwant, because the whole as it were, the USP of TRS is that it birthed the state of Telangana. To now imagine it as a national party, I don't know. Will that work or will it boomerang?
In one word, no. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think that that KCR has a truly pan-Indian stature to sort of make something like this work. But Barkha, I want to point out two very, very, very quick points. And the first one is the BJP has, until a couple of years ago, been quite soft on the TRS. They've not really gone the whole hog against TRS. And even now, the real heavy artillery, who are basically the CBI, ED and IT, have not been brought into the battle as yet against the TRS. And that is something that is very surprising, because as we've seen in state after state after state, and most recently in Maharashtra with Eknath Shinde and his team, the agencies have been a very, very powerful ally of the BJP. And so far, they have not been extensively brought into play. And I see that as very significant, which could change in the run-up to the election. The second very important point is, and this I think is also what Yashwant touched upon, is that the BJP vote in Telangana currently is concentrated. The northern part, of course, Hyderabad we know, but the northern part of the state, where with just 19% vote share in 2019, they were able to win 4 Lok Sabha seats. The Congress with 29% ended up with only 3 Lok Sabha seats. So I think that is again a very significant point, because the BJP is actually getting a bigger bang for the buck because of the concentrated nature of the vote, which means that they could upset the apple cart if they are able to increase that vote share in a smaller area and bag more number of seats within a concentrated space. So they don't need to really spread themselves out all across the state. So these are very significant.
I will put that to Yashwant, whether localized targeted BJP campaigns could work. But Vamsi, before we lose you again, let's bring you in for a comment. Vamsi, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. First, let me clarify to you, everybody, and particularly Krishan, that I'm talking here as a journalist, not as a representative of Deccan Chronicle. So please don't link my organization with me. And unfortunately, of course, it is a new normal, and we all journalists have to live with that. The moment you talk about your observation, your opinion, you are immediately connected, and kind of. Thankfully, I'm not on social media, so the question of trolling won't happen. Well, I will stick to the issue that I never said 14 or 18. 14, I said he would have got more seats because it happened because of him only. That I think he missed out. And 18 people. And secondly, why I'm talking about is development or all the factors. Unfortunately, they are not the real deciding factors in elections. More than that, sometimes emotions or other factors. I'm telling if the development is the thing, or any governments will. It's not like the governments won't do anything, just they sit and spend time kind of thing. It is the question of credibility. Coming back to that BRS, I'm telling you, had he talked about a front like Chandrababu Naidu did earlier, there could have been some credibility part. I'm sorry to say that, but people are treating it as a joke, in the sense that how will he achieve that with 9 seats, less than 9 seats here, and in his neighborhood only he has got nobody will Andhra, is anybody going to vote for him, or Karnataka for that matter, in any other state. So his talk of national
I think,
politics,
yeah.
with national party, I'm saying that you can play a very active role in national politics. The regional players are definitely doing it for the quite long time, from 90s or so. But his talk of he floating a national party, contesting all the seats where he has to get 300 plus, or at least 200, or at least 120. Where is he going to get the seat? That is what the people are looking
Krishan,
at.
please respond. Krishan, please respond to that.
They're
Which
treating
state
it as a
outside of
diversionary
Telangana?
tactic.
Which state outside Telangana is going to take Mr. KCR seriously? Is the question from Vamsi. Krishan, can we unmute Krishan? Yes.
Barkhaji, today, if national news or national journalists are actually discussing about KCRG, that itself is a beginning point. It's always not about numbers. It's always not about being a prime minister or government of India. That is why I said we need a challenger today. And we are doing an activism. We fought against all the parties, made them approve, and then Telangana became possible. So overnight, nothing happens overnight. We are waging a battle. KCRG has initiated, and as people who have participated in Telangana movement, we think, yes, we have to be in this movement where Narendra Modi ji or Bharatiya Janata Party has to be questioned. It is the people who will help us if we succeed or not. It is on what agenda we are talking, what points are we raising is important. So we are not saying that tomorrow morning, we are going to take over Luthians and we'll be the Prime Minister of India, KCRG will be the next Prime Minister of India. No, not at all. We are ready if that is what KCRG has said to us too. If Mamta Didi is ready to take up the baton, we are ready to work with her, or anyone, be it any leader. Okay. What we are doing is issue-based movement is what we are taking up.
Everyone has that right. I need to start making last comments now to Mr. Guruva Reddy first. You see, both of your parties seem to be overreaching. The TRS seems to be overreaching in its national ambitions, and you seem to be overreaching in thinking you can actually win Telangana. So with respect, I'm going to go back to those Hyderabad figures. They certainly look very good for you, sir, and we can play them again. And we should remind the audience why the BJP is eyeing Hyderabad, because look at these. This is from 2020, admittedly a while ago now, but these were the latest results of the municipal elections that took place in Hyderabad, where the BJP was snapping at the heels of the TRS. But also note that the MIM maintained its position. So to Yashwant's point, that kind of Hindu-Muslim polarization is possible in the cities like Hyderabad, where you can take emotive issues like changing the name of Hyderabad, but it doesn't resonate outside. So aren't you overreaching in actually thinking you can win Telangana, or are you hoping to be what Yashwant calls the number 2 party, Mr. Reddy, replacing the Congress as the main opposition, the main challenger?
Good question, Barkha. Actually, if we look at the statistics from 2019 general elections, if we could have won 2 more seats, actually, had we had the proper planning and candidate to contest from the North Telangana itself, we had to confine to 3 from North and 1 from Hyderabad. And looking at, as taking the words, the cue from the words the colleagues are talking about, it is not just about Hindu-Muslim polarization. It is about polarization of people's aspirations, expectations, because especially it's a newly formed state. We are looking at the development model of other states where BJP is ruling, and we're definitely looking at the people are looking at BJP as an alternative when it comes to development politics. And then comes the Hindu-Muslim polarization. I'll tell you what, MIM is strongly present in 9 of the towns in North Telangana and 3 of the South Telangana towns. Tomorrow, if TRS and MIM come together, there is the expectation that they both will come together to fight against BJP. I'm sure they are going to fight in about 17 to 18 seats. We're not counting or banking upon just Hyderabad Hindu-Muslim polarization. We are talking about development politics, and we are not even.
But you are also
discussing
talking about a counter consolidation to the TRS and the MIM coming together in urban areas. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Reddy.
See, politically, it is as a political party. Definitely, there are many options that we look into. That's one of the definite option we'll go for. But definitely, we are not against any Muslim community. We are for the development of all communities equally. You look at the reforms that the Modi government is bringing in, like triple talaq, equal development to all, Antyodaya schemes, all the reforms that we are talking about. Any reform that the Narendra Modi government has introduced does not talk about religion or caste. We always talk about poor and.
Are you aiming in the next election for number 2 or number 1? I know no party will ever say they're aiming for number 2.
We are aiming for number 1. We'll be number 1, and we're going to form the government.
Okay, Yashwant, do you think both the TRS and the BJP are overreaching? That is a key part of politics. It's true the Prime Minister addressed a mammoth rally, but it's also true, as you pointed out, that this is Hyderabad. And you look at the same local body elections outside in other pockets, the BJP doesn't perform that spectacularly. But you also heard a hint from Mr. Guruva Reddy that the MIM and the TRS, if they join hands, there will be a kind of attempted Hindu consolidations in the cities that the BJP will attempt, a counter consolidation. So your last thoughts, Yashwant.
Well, taking a cue from Mr. Vamsi, that I'm speaking as an individual, not as a representative of C voter right now. But, I totally agree with that. I mean, basically, we have heard a lot of mixed points from all the panelists today. And just picking up where we stopped on the national ambitions thing, yes, they are overreaching. And a tidbit of history, Barkha, the original Telugu Bidda, Mr. N.T. Rama Rao, started Bharatiya Rashtriya Samiti way back in the mid-80s. Exactly
so interesting.
Exactly on the same lines, and wrapped it up within 2 years after winning the assembly election, if I am not wrong. So basically, sometimes the regional leaders also put up these national ambitions to draw a bigger line among their own constituency. So, if KCR picks himself and says, okay, I am a prime minister material, and you can see me as a prime minister, there is a section of Telangana audience which would like to take pride in the fact that, okay, here is our person who can be the prime minister. I believe the similar kind of politics even Mamata Banerjee played by taking on Mr. Modi, in that way.
It's very interesting what you're saying. You're saying actually when they go national, the aim is not to go national. The aim is to raise their profile for their home elections, and that is a
home thing. Yeah. So
very interesting.
वो हमारे लखनऊ में कहते हैं ना बरका कि तोप मांगोगे तो बंदूक तो मिल ही जाएगी वाले अंदाज में. So तोप मांग रहे हैं, बंदूक तो मुझे हाथ में आ ही जाएगी. That's what is happening in Hyderabad right now.
Very interesting. I do have to wrap. Vamsi, you have a brief comment, and then Mr. Guruva Reddy. I don't know where Krishan went. Yes, go ahead, Vamsi.
That's what I'm saying. NTR, he succeeded, or at least he could raise it, because that time Congress was in a very bad shape, and people are so fed up with the Congress, which it is not the case with the BJP. Two, I don't think MIM and TRS will go for an alliance is a big doubt, because it will, in a way, if it helps the consolidation of Hindu vote, then the Congress will definitely be out of the race, and it will be fight between TRS and BJP, which KCR doesn't want to do it. Because at this stage, if you look at Hyderabad and pockets where the polarization happens, BJP will be in a good position. And from other places where Congress leaders are really strong people, they have the good cadre, and then they will win those seats. And could be a kind of a triangular contest, which I think
so you're saying a triangular
that is an
contest.
Advantageous.
Yeah, you're saying
is advantageous for him.
Suits KCR more than going head to head with the BJP. Sumanth, you want to add to that? Then Mr. Guruva Reddy. Yes, Sumanth.
One last point, Barkha, which I think we saw already. This is one of those rare states where there is understanding between Congress and BJP at the local level to defeat TRS. We saw it consistently in the Lok Sabha elections, where the TRS openly accused the Congress and BJP of colluding with each other and transferring of votes, which happened very successfully. So I think that the next assembly election is going to see a lot of backroom deals, local transfer of votes between different parties and so on. But the TRS is going to have an uphill task, and the BJP is on a surge. Let's see if they want to, carry this through to its, bitter end in terms of using all the ammunition they have in their arsenal
But let's
to dislodge KCR.
let's reverse the question for a moment. If KCR does take a third term, and so far, even with the struggle, Yashwant's data seems to be pointing. Yashwant, please correct me if that's wrong. Maybe depleted, but takes a historic third term. That does give him, as that at least the banduk, if not the top. It does give him that. It gives him a certain clout in national politics, not as a national face, not as a vote cashing machine, but as a mechanism to get parties united and maybe create some sort of opposition front. Would you agree with that?
Convener.
Yeah, absolutely.
Convener of a front.
Sorry. The question was with me. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, absolutely. Yeah, it's absolutely the correct, as you have pointed out. And I actually agree with Vamsi on this point that pre-poll alliance might be working against them. Yes, but I do see a probability if the numbers don't really come in the post-poll, then AIMIM could be always a good post-poll ally to TRS. That's how I look at it.
Correct. Okay, Mr. Guruva Reddy, last word to you, sir. Mr. Guruva Reddy, yes.
If you allow me, there are 2 points, Barkha. One,
sure, please.
I would like to, compare this TRS versus BRS. The KCR is, according to me, KCR is talking about BRS because he's already lost his original ground of TRS. So there's nothing to gain out of it. People are not going to accept him or vote him because in his own constituency, where he's won and became CM, there's a lot of resentment, and he's not in a position to, or in his leaders are not in a position to, move around freely, in villages or in towns there, So he knows that clearly there's an intelligence report and evidence that he might even lose in his own constituency. That's why he's talking about something else, because it's a people's diversion attention program. Every time he does, something negative comes across him. Number 2 point regarding we're talking about, the formation of Telangana government. Whether it is Congress or whether it is BJP, which is going to gain out of the negative voting against TRS. No, I would say I think it is TRS itself is pumping up Congress a little bit. They're trying to, see the growth of Congress a little bit more, give them some energy by creating issues against the Congress leaders and sometimes against the leaders who talk negative about them or question the government. Now, it is about the people who want to see if there is an MP candidate or an MLA candidate, whether he's from Congress or from independent or from BJP. If that candidate is trustworthy or he's got some good profile or good history, people are going to choose him whether he's from BJP or Congress or neutral candidate. But most of the cases, it looks like most of the Congress MLAs or ex-MLAs, they see that there's no leadership, credible leadership at national level. And their comparison of Modi ji with any other leader, they're looking out for,
Well, it's going to be fascinating, Mr.
So there's a lot of transfer of leadership from Congress to BJP. And I'm sure, like my other friend just now was talking about, there could be vote transfer, even Congress vote could be transferred to.
Fascinating. It's going to be fascinating. I think all bets are off. Leaving it there. Thank you very much, Mr. Guruva Reddy, leader of the BJP, Vamsi Srinivas, bureau chief of the Deccan Chronicle, Yashwant Deshmukh, and earlier to Krishan K and Sumanth Raman. Fascinating. Politics is really something where at the best you can make an educated guess, and after that none of us actually know what's going to happen on the ground, and that's what makes it so interesting. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and to our audience, have a great evening. Take care. Thank you.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.